I planned my son's first Little League game. Down to the last detail, no one showed up. A week later, my sister demanded $2,000 for her kid's party. What happened next? Ended everything. Sup Reddit. So I cut off my entire family financially after they no-showed my 6-year-old's first baseball game. My sister lost her apartment. My brother moved back in with our parents. My dad had to borrow money from his brother for the first time in his adult life, all because they couldn't show up for one Saturday morning. Let me break this down for you. I'm Matthew, 38 years old, single dad to the best kid on the planet. I work in IT management, drive a 2017 Honda Civic with 140,000 miles on it, and live in a 2-bedroom apartment that costs exactly $1,450 a month. Nothing fancy, just a regular life with regular bills and a kid who deserves better. Here's the thing about being the responsible one in your family. People stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a solution. Got rent coming up short? Call Matthew. Car payment due? Matthew will cover it. Need a loan cosigner? Matthew's name goes on the line. I've been that guy since I was 22. At first it felt good, like I was being a good son, a good brother. That feeling lasted about 3 years before it turned into obligation, and obligation turned into resentment, and resentment turned into a normal Tuesday. My family consists of my parents, my sister Lisa, who's 34, and my brother Justin, who just turned 32. Lisa was always the golden child, homecoming queen, dated the popular guys, had that magnetic thing. Mom used to say she had star quality. That extraordinary thing never arrived, but the expectation stuck around. She's had 4 different business ideas in 6 years. A boutique that closed after 8 months, a lifestyle blog, an Etsy shop that produced 12 candles before she got bored, and a social media consulting business that was really just her posting on her own accounts. Every venture required startup capital. Every time I provided it. She's married to George, who's a nice enough guy but has the financial planning skills of a goldfish. They have a daughter, Melissa, who's 8. Sweet kid. Not her fault her parents spend money like they're printing it in the basement. Justin is what my dad calls a late bloomer, and what I call 32 with no direction. He's been in community college on and off for 6 years, working on a communications degree he'll probably never finish. Works part-time at a sporting goods store, lives in a studio he can barely afford, and talks about opportunities that never materialize. He's charming as heck, the kind of guy who can make you laugh even when you're mad at him. My parents are good people who can't say no to Lisa or Justin. I'm the one who's been making their property tax payments for 4 years because Dad's fixed income doesn't quite cover everything. The numbers. In the last 12 months, I'd sent Lisa $8,340 for various emergencies. Rent, car repairs, Melissa's dance competitions, medical bills. I kept a spreadsheet. Every dollar documented. Spoiler, I never got paid back. Justin got $5,890 in the same period. Rent, car insurance, tuition for classes he dropped, security deposits, networking events. My parents' property taxes, $3,847. Dad's truck loan I co-signed, $387 monthly for 18 months. That's $6,966. Add it all up, $29,243 on my family last year, before the smaller stuff. The $40 for groceries, the $60 for gas, the random emergencies. I could have bought a decent car with that. Could have moved somewhere better. Could have started a college fund that actually grew. But here's the thing that kept me going. I thought family meant something. I thought if I kept showing up, kept helping, kept being the dependable one, then maybe when I needed something, they'd be there too. Spoiler alert number 2. That's not how it works. My son Paul turned 6 in March. His mom left when he was 2, said she wasn't ready for the responsibility, and I haven't heard from her since. No child support, no birthday cards, no random texts checking in. Just gone. So it's been me and Paul against the world for the last 4 years. And honestly, that kid is the only reason I'm still functioning like a normal human being. He's got my dark hair, this smile that could light up a whole city block, and this way of looking at things that makes everything seem possible. He's into dinosaurs, Lego, and as of January, baseball. He saw a game on TV and decided that was it. That was his thing. He wanted to play. So I signed him up for Little League. The registration was $185, plus another $120 for equipment since I had to buy everything from scratch. Glove, bat, cleats, helmet, the works. He practiced in the living room every night with a plastic bat, watching YouTube videos of professional players, asking me questions I had to Google the answers to, because I never played baseball as a kid. His first game was scheduled for Saturday, April 27th at 10 a.m. Soon as I got the schedule, I knew I wanted to make it special. Not just show up and watch, but really make it a moment he'd remember. The kind of thing where his whole family came out and made him feel like the most important person in the world. Picture this. I ordered custom jerseys for Paul's entire team. 14 jerseys at $28.50 each, all with names printed on the back. $399 total, which should have gone towards summer camp. But whatever. Worth it. Bought snacks for the team. Full spread. Juice boxes, fruit pouches, pretzels, crackers, candy, little goodie bags with baseball cards and chocolate. $127.43 at Target. The banner. Custom vinyl, 6 feet wide, full color, team name and logo. Rush shipping. $340. Total investment in Paul's first game. $851.43. I invited everyone 3 weeks in advance. Sent a group text to the family chat at exactly 7:14 p.m. on April 6th. Paul's first Little League game is Saturday, April 27th at 10 a.m. Martin Field behind the community center. Really hope everyone can make it. It would mean the world to him. Everyone responded within an hour. Mom, wouldn't miss it. We'll be there with bells on. Dad, looking forward to it, son. Tell Paul Grandpa's ready to cheer loud. Lisa, oh my God, yes. Melissa will be so excited. We'll bring chairs. Justin, for sure, dude. Sounds awesome. I followed up with individual calls the week before. Everyone confirmed. Everyone said they'd be there. Lisa even asked what time she should arrive to get good seats, and I told her 9:30 just to be safe. She said perfect. They'd leave by 9 o'clock. I believed them. That's the part that still gets me. I actually believed them. A Saturday, April 27th started at 6:07 a.m. when Paul ran into my room wearing his jersey over his pajamas. Dad! Dad! It's game day! We made pancakes shaped like baseballs. He ate 4 while telling me his strategy for right field. Everyone's coming, right? He asked for the 5th time. Everyone's coming, buddy. That absolute certainty in his eyes almost killed me. We got to Martin Field at 9:22 a.m. early, but Paul wanted to help set up, and I wanted to make sure I got those 8 seats I'd been planning for. The banner went up first. Coach Mike and I unrolled it and zip-tied it to the chain-link fence behind home plate. Paul stood back and looked at it with this expression like we just hung the Mona Lisa. That's so cool, Dad. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, it is. The bleachers started filling up around 9:45. Other families arriving with their coolers and their matching t-shirts and their whole extended support systems. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone clustering together, taking pictures, making memories. I saved 8 seats. Front row, right behind home plate. Best view in the house. Put my jacket across 3 of them. My backpack on 2 more. Asked the family next to me if they'd mind saving the other 3. They were cool about it. Paul kept looking over during warm-ups. Every time he'd catch my eye, I'd give him a thumbs up. And every time I'd see his gaze drift to the empty seats next to me. That little wrinkle would form between his eyebrows before he'd shake it off and go back to practicing his throws. 9:53 a.m. Still nobody. I checked my phone. 0 messages, 0 missed calls. Nothing. I texted the family chat. Hey, game starts in 7 minutes. Where is everyone? Read receipts showed everyone had seen it within 30 seconds. Nobody responded. 10 a.m., first pitch. Paul's out in right field, glove ready, eyes scanning the bleachers every 15 seconds. The woman next to me, her name's Angela, has 3 kids on the team. She leans over and asks, "That your boy in right field?" "Yeah, first game." "First game?" She looks at the empty seats around me, at my jacket and backpack, still holding space for people who aren't coming. Something like pity flashes across her face before she catches herself. He's doing great out there. I texted the chat again at 10:14 a.m. Seriously, where is everyone? Still nothing. Paul caught his first fly ball at 10:23 a.m. Clean catch, ran it into the second baseman exactly like they'd practiced. He turned to the bleachers, found me, and his eyes immediately went to the empty seats. His smile dimmed. Not gone, but definitely dimmer. Angela and her family started cheering for Paul too. Her husband, Tom, figured out pretty quick what was happening. They rallied their kids to cheer every time Paul made a play. Their youngest, maybe 4 years old, kept yelling, "Go, Paul!" even when Paul wasn't doing anything, just standing there in right field. That's when I knew these strangers felt sorry for us. They were watching my kid realize his family wasn't coming, and they were trying to fill that gap because they're decent people who understood what this moment meant. Top of the 3rd inning, 10:47 a.m., My phone finally buzzed. Lisa. Hey, so sorry, we're not going to make it. Melissa's friend invited her to a birthday party at the Hendersons' house, and it's kind of a big deal. The Henderson girl is like the popular kid in her class. Rain check? I stared at that message for a solid 30 seconds. A birthday party. For a kid that Melissa barely knew. At a house that was probably 30 minutes from the baseball field. A party that, based on how birthday party invitations work, Lisa had known about for at least a week, probably two, and she'd said nothing. Just waited until the game started to text me that they weren't coming. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my mom. Straight to voicemail. Called my dad. Straight to voicemail. Called Justin. Rang 4 times, then voicemail. Cool. 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 Paul came up to bat in the bottom of the third at 11:04 a.m. Struck out swinging. Walked back to the dugout with his shoulders hunched forward in a way that made him look smaller than he actually is. Coach Mike said something to him, and Paul nodded, but I could see his eyes were wet. Angela's family cheered anyway. Good try, Paul. You'll get it next time. The game ended at 11:47 a.m. Paul's team won 8-5. He went 0 for 2 at the plate, but he'd caught 2 fly balls in the outfield and hadn't made any errors. Coach Mike gave all the kids high fives and told them they did great for their first game. Paul walked over to me slowly. The other kids were running to their families, getting hugs and congratulations, and being told how proud everyone was. Paul just walked. Where is everyone, Dad? And that's the moment. Right there. That's the moment when something fundamental shifted in my brain. They couldn't make it, buddy. But I'm here. And you were amazing. But you said everyone was coming. I know. I thought they were. He didn't cry. Didn't throw a fit. Just nodded and said, okay, in this small voice that made me want to set the world on fire. We went for ice cream after. His choice. Got him a waffle cone with 2 scoops of cookie dough. He was quiet the whole time, just eating his ice cream and swinging his legs under the table. The other families from the team were there too, celebrating their win, and I watched Paul watch them, watched him see what it looked like when whole families showed up. Finally, he looked up at me and asked, did I do something wrong? What? Number. Buddy, no. You were perfect out there. Then why didn't they come? And I didn't have an answer that wouldn't make his family look bad or make him feel worse. So I just said, I don't know, Paul, but it's not because of anything you did. Sometimes grown-ups make bad choices. He accepted that because 6-year-olds don't have the capacity yet to understand that sometimes people just suck. That sometimes the people who are supposed to love you will choose convenience over showing up. That sometimes you're just not a priority, no matter how much you should be. But I understood it. Sitting there in that ice cream shop, watching my kid try to make sense of being let down by people who should have been there. I understood it perfectly. We got home at 1:33 p.m. I helped Paul take off his cleats and put his glove away. He went to his room to play Lego. I sat on the couch and looked at my phone. The family chat had exploded while I was getting ice cream. Justin at 12:04 p.m. Dude, I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. I was up late last night and slept through my alarm. Mom at 12:19 p.m. Honey, I'm sorry we couldn't make it. Dad wasn't feeling well this morning, and I didn't want to leave him alone. How did Paul do? Dad at 12:22 p.m. Tell Paul Grandpa's sorry. Next game, for sure. Lisa at 12:41 p.m. You're not seriously mad about this, right? It's just a kid's baseball game. There will be others. I read that last message 3 times. Just a kid's baseball game. There will be others. Yeah, Lisa, there will be others. And you know who will be at every single one of them? Me. You know who won't? The rest of you. Because if you couldn't show up for his first game when I gave you 3 weeks' notice and multiple reminders, you're not showing up for Game 7 or Game 15 or the championship game if they make it that far. I didn't respond. Opened my banking app instead. Logged into Lisa's automatic transfers, $400 on the first, $300 on the 15th, canceled both. Deleted the payee. Opened Venmo where Justin had me as financial bro. 37 requests in 6 months, totaling $2,340. Blocked him. Canceled the auto pay for Dad's truck. $387 monthly. Removed my bank information. Called insurance and removed Lisa from my policy. She'd been saving $140 monthly. Canceled the Netflix account my whole family used. Changed my Amazon password. Lisa ordered stuff twice a week on my dime. Removed my card from Lisa's DoorDash. She'd charged $487 in takeout in 3 months. 43 minutes total. By 2:16 p.m., every financial tie was severed. I made a cup of coffee and sat back down. Opened the spreadsheet I kept of family expenses. Added up everything I'd paid in the last month alone, $2,447. That was before the baseball stuff. Added the banner, jerseys, and snacks. $3,298.43 that I'd spent in 1 month on people who couldn't give me one morning. I transferred $3,300 into Paul's savings account, the one I'd set up for his college fund that never seemed to grow because I kept having to raid it for family emergencies. Watch the balance jump from $847 to $4,147. That felt better than anything had felt in years. Then I did something I'd never done before. I blocked everyone except my mom on my phone. Lisa, Justin, Dad, even a few cousins who occasionally hit me up for money. Just blocked them all. If Mom needed to reach me for an actual emergency, she could. Everyone else could figure it out. Paul came out of his room at 3:18 p.m. and asked if we could watch a movie. We watched Toy Story for probably the 40th time. He fell asleep on the couch with his head on my shoulder, still wearing his jersey. I sat there thinking about how this kid had no idea that his entire financial future had just gotten significantly brighter because his family couldn't be bothered to show up for 2 hours on a Saturday morning. Sunday morning, 8:47 a.m., my phone started ringing. Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail. She called back at 9:03 a.m. Voicemail again. Text message at 9:17 a.m. Matthew, please call me. Lisa is very upset. Yeah, well, Paul was very upset yesterday, but nobody seemed concerned about that. Another call at 10:22 a.m. This time I answered, Matthew, thank God. Lisa's been trying to reach you. Her rent is due tomorrow and the transfer didn't go through. It didn't go through because I canceled it. Silence. You canceled it? Why? Because I'm not paying her rent anymore. But she's counting on that money. Then she should have shown up to Paul's game. Matthew, you can't stop helping your sister because she missed one game. It wasn't one game, Mom. It was his first game. The one I invited everyone to 3 weeks in advance. The one I spent $851 making special. The one where he looked for his family and found empty seats. We had valid reasons. Did you? Dad felt well enough to post about watching golf yesterday. I saw it. Her breath caught. Well, I needed to stay with him. You needed to. Or you chose to. There's a difference. One is an emergency. The other is a decision. You decided watching golf was more important than watching your grandson play baseball. That's not fair. Lisa decided a birthday party was more important. Justin decided sleeping in was more important. Everyone had something they'd rather do. That's fine. But so can I. And I'm choosing to stop funding your lives. Matthew, please. The truck payment. Not my problem. That's Dad's truck. He can make his own payments. He can't afford, then he shouldn't have bought it. People live within their means. I hung up. It rang again 15 seconds later. I declined. Lisa at 11:04 a.m. What the heck, Matthew? Mom said you canceled my rent transfer? What am I supposed to do? 11:15 a.m. I have until tomorrow to pay or they'll start eviction. 11:31 a.m. Matthew, answer me. 11:31 a.m. I'm sorry we missed Paul's game. Bad timing. But you can't abandon me because of one mistake. I blocked her. Justin at 12:47. Bro, what's going on? Lisa's freaking out. 1:28 p.m. At least tell me what I did wrong. Blocked him too. Dad called at 2:15 p.m. Voicemail I deleted without listening. By 4 p.m., 17 missed calls from various numbers and one text from Mom. Matthew, please. We need to talk. I'm sorry. I stared at that text for a long time. Let it sit there while I made dinner for Paul. Chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs and some mac and cheese. We ate at the kitchen table and he told me about the Lego spaceship he was building. Didn't mention the game. Didn't ask about his family. Just talked about Lego. After dinner, I finally responded to my mom's text. Next Saturday is Paul's second game. 10 a.m., same field. If you want to talk, show up. She replied immediately. We'll be there. I promise. Don't promise, Mom. Just do it. The week went by in a strange kind of peace. Nobody could call me. Nobody could text me demanding explanations or money or both. I went to work, picked Paul up from school, made dinner, helped with homework, read bedtime stories. Normal life, the life I should have been living all along. I checked my bank account on Wednesday and did something I'd never been able to do before. I moved $1,200 into savings without immediately needing to pull it back out. Just saved it. Let it sit there and grow. Signed Paul up for summer baseball camp. $340 for 2 weeks in July. Didn't even flinch at the cost because I knew I could afford it now. Bought him new cleats because his were already getting tight. $57.99 at Dick's Sporting Goods. Got him batting gloves too because he asked, and I didn't have to check my account first to see if I could swing it. We got ice cream on Thursday night just because. No special occasion, just felt like getting ice cream. $11.40 for 2 cones, and I paid cash without counting it twice. These sound like small things. They are small things. But they felt massive. They felt like breathing room, like the difference between treading water and actually swimming. Friday afternoon, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Matthew? Lisa's voice calling from someone else's phone. Please don't hang up. I should have hung up. I need to talk to you, please. 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, you've got 3. I borrowed money from George's parents for rent. We made the payment yesterday, but George is furious with me because now we owe his family money, and he's never had to borrow from them before. He says it's humiliating. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Lisa? I'm sorry you had to ask for help from someone other than me? I'm sorry you had to feel what it's like to be dependent on someone else's generosity? You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I've been your safety net for 12 years. 12 years of you making bad financial decisions and me fixing them. You want to know why I'm done? It's not because you missed Paul's game. I mean, that's part of it. But really, it's because you called it just a kid's baseball game. Like it was nothing. Like my kids' feelings don't matter because there will be others. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Silence. That's what I thought. Look, I'm not your backup plan anymore. I'm not your emergency fund. Figure it out like everyone else does. But we're family. Family shows up, Lisa. That's what family does. They show up. I hung up. This time I did block the number. Saturday morning, game day. Paul was excited, but noticeably less so than last week. He kept asking if it was okay that it was just us going, if he was in trouble for something, if I was mad at him. That last one about killed me. Buddy, I'm not mad at you. You didn't do anything wrong. I promise. Then why is everyone else mad? Kids are too perceptive. They're not mad at you. They're mad at me because I made some changes. But it's not your fault. We got to the field at 9:40, started unpacking our chairs and his gear. I'd brought snacks for him and water bottles, but I didn't go overboard this time. Just the basics. At 9:48, I saw them. My mom and dad walking across the parking lot. Mom was carrying a handmade sign that said, "Go Paul," in big red letters with baseballs drawn around it. Dad had his old baseball cap on and was moving slower than usual. But he was there. Actually there. At 9:53, Lisa's minivan pulled into the lot. She, George, and Melissa got out. Melissa was wearing a baseball t-shirt and carrying pom-poms. Lisa looked nervous, like she wasn't sure she'd be welcome. At 9:57, Justin's beat-up sedan parked at the far end of the lot. He got out and jogged over, clearly trying to make it before 10 o'clock. Made it with 3 minutes to spare. Paul saw them and froze. Looked up at me with this expression like he didn't know if he was allowed to be happy about it. Like maybe this was a trick or they'd disappear. They came, I said simply. He didn't run to them, just stood there until they came to him. My mom got there first and dropped to her knees right there in the grass, not caring about the dirt or the stains. Or, "Paul, sweetheart, I am so sorry we missed your first game. That was wrong. It was very wrong. And we're here now, and we're going to be here for every game if you want us here." Paul looked at her, then at me. I nodded. Permission to believe it. He let her hug him. Dad came over next, slower because of his knees, and ruffled Paul's hair. "Ready to see you play, slugger." Lisa and George apologized. Melissa gave Paul the pom-poms and said she was going to cheer so loud everyone would hear her. Justin did his usual charming thing and made Paul laugh with some joke about baseball players being cooler than football players. They all found seats. Not in the front row this time. I'd taken that spot, but they were there, in the bleachers, with signs and pom-poms and actual interest in what was happening on the field. The game started at 10:03. Paul played second base for the first 3 innings. Made an error in the first inning. Bobbled a ground ball that should have been an easy out. But when he looked at the bleachers, his whole family was cheering anyway. Melissa was shaking her pom-poms and yelling, "That's okay, Paul. You got the next one." And he did. Next play, clean catch, perfect throw to first. Double play. The bleachers erupted. My mom was on her feet. Dad was clapping so hard I could hear it from where I sat. Lisa had her phone out recording. Justin was legitimately excited, not just polite excited. Paul went 2 for 3 at the plate. Second time up, he hit a line drive to center field that would have been a double if the center fielder hadn't made a ridiculous catch. When he walked back to the dugout, the whole family was still cheering. The game ended 10-4, Paul's team winning. When he came off the field, his family was waiting for him, not demanding his attention, not making it about them. Just there, present, engaged. After the game, Mom approached me while everyone else was celebrating with Paul. Thank you for giving us another chance. Don't thank me yet. This is the start, not the finish. I know, and I know I messed up. We all did. But I want you to know I understand now why you did what you did. Your father and I had to borrow money from his brother for the truck payment. It was humiliating. He was livid with me. And I realized that's what you've been dealing with for years. The humiliation of having to ask for help because we couldn't manage our own responsibilities. I didn't say anything. Just let her talk. Lisa's learning the same lesson. George is embarrassed they had to go to his parents. Justin moved back in with us because he couldn't make rent on his own. The house is crowded and tense, and everyone's realizing how much they were leaning on you without even thinking about what that cost you. What it cost Paul, I corrected. I'm an adult. I can handle it. But he's 6. He shouldn't have to pay for your choices. You're right. And I'm going to do better. We all are. I wanted to believe her. But I'd heard variations of this promise before. Usually right after I'd paid for something major, and everyone was feeling guilty for about 48 hours. Time will tell, I said. She nodded and went back to the others. Lisa came over next. This was harder. My sister and I had always been close when we were kids, before life got complicated and expensive. I was wrong, she said. No preamble, no excuses. I was wrong about the game, wrong about the money, wrong about how I talked to you. George and I had a long conversation this week about priorities and budgeting and how we've been living beyond our means because we knew you'd catch us if we fell. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to Paul. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to pay you back. It's going to take time, but I'm going to pay back what I owe you. I made a spreadsheet like you do. Every dollar I borrowed, every favor you did that cost you money. It's going to be a payment plan, but I'm going to do it. I didn't know what to say to that. Honestly, didn't think I'd ever hear Lisa acknowledge the debt, let alone offer to repay it. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because you were right. Family shows up. And part of showing up is taking responsibility. So I'm going to. Even if it takes years. Justin was next. He looked uncomfortable, which was new. Justin's whole thing was being comfortable everywhere. I don't have a big speech, he said. I'm just sorry. For all of it. For sleeping through the game. For treating you like a bank. For not respecting your time or your money or your kid. I moved back in with Mom and Dad. And it sucks. But it's forcing me to actually finish school and get a real job because I can't keep doing this. So thanks, I guess, for making me grow up. Even though it was like getting hit by a truck. Welcome to adulthood, I said. It's terrible. You'll hate it, he laughed. Yeah, I'm getting that. We drove home after the game, just me and Paul. And he talked the entire way about how Melissa said she wants to play baseball too, and how Grandpa knew all these stats about professional players, and how Uncle Justin said he'd come to practice with him sometime. That night, I checked my savings account. The balance had grown to $5,447 without me even trying, just by not bleeding money to everyone else. I started a list on my phone. Summer camp, already paid. $340. New glove when he grows out of this one. Approximately $80. Real birthday party. Not just family, actual party. $300. Disney World someday. $3,500 probably. Braces eventually. $5,000. Car at 16. $8,000. College. Everything else. These were Paul's needs. My needs. Not Lisa's boutique business number 4. Not Justin's networking events. Not my parents' inability to budget for property taxes. Just us. My phone buzzed. Text from Lisa. Thank you for today. For letting us make it right. I'm going to do better. I saved the message but didn't respond immediately. Went to Paul's room where he was already asleep, still wearing his jersey, his medal from the game on his nightstand. Made a promise standing in that doorway. Never again would I prioritize anyone's comfort over his well-being. Never again would I be the invisible one funding everyone else's lives while struggling to give my kid what he deserved. I'd spent 12 years being dependable, being the solution to everyone's problems, being the one who showed up and never asked for anything in return. But dependable isn't the same as doormat, and family isn't supposed to be a one-way transaction. 2 months later, end of June, I took Paul to Disney World. Just the two of us. 4 days of parks and rides and overpriced everything, funded entirely by money that used to vanish into the black hole of family obligations. We rode Space Mountain 3 times in a row because he wanted to, and I could afford the park hopper tickets without stress. Got Mickey ears with his name embroidered on them for $24.99. Stayed at a resort hotel with a pool that had a water slide shaped like a sea serpent. Ate ice cream twice in one day because why not? Bought him a lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge, the fancy one that cost $219, without checking my bank account first. We stayed until the fireworks ended each night, Paul on my shoulders, his head getting heavier as exhaustion set in, but refusing to leave until the last spark faded. Those 4 days cost $3,847 total, the exact amount I used to pay in property taxes for my parents every year. On the last day, while we waited at the airport for our flight home, Paul leaned against me with his Mickey ears askew and his new stuffed Stitch clutched under one arm. Yeah? Yeah. Can we come back sometime? Maybe next year, buddy. We'll see. My phone was off, had been off the entire trip. I'd told my mom where we'd be and how to reach me in an actual emergency, and that was it. Nobody else knew. Nobody else needed to know. For the first time in over a decade, I'd taken a vacation without worrying about who needed money while I was gone or what crisis would be waiting when I got back. Just 4 days of being a dad without the weight of being everyone's backup plan. The family situation had stabilized into something resembling functional. My parents showed up to every one of Paul's games. Lisa sent me $150 on the first of each month with a note in the Venmo description tracking her repayment progress. Justin enrolled full-time in community college for the fall semester and got a better job at a marketing firm. Everyone seemed to be managing their own lives for the first time in recent memory. I still had boundaries up, still kept them all at arm's length financially. Because here's what I learned. People will take everything you're willing to give and then ask for more. Not because they're evil, not because they don't love you, but because humans are really good at accepting help and really bad at recognizing when that help comes at someone else's expense. My mom called it tough love when she finally understood what I'd done. I called it self-preservation. Tomato, tomato. The savings account I'd opened for Paul hit $12,000 in August. I'd been putting away what I used to spend on family expenses, watching it grow month by month. Summer camp had been incredible. Paul made friends and learned to swim better and came home brown from the sun and happy. His birthday party in September was the real one he deserved. Invited 12 kids from school. Rented a bounce house. Had it at a park pavilion with pizza and a custom cake shaped like a baseball diamond. Cost $387, and I paid cash without checking my account balance first. Lisa, George, and Melissa came. Brought a present. Stayed the whole time. Helped clean up after without being asked. My parents came and actually interacted with Paul's friends. Learned their names. Justin came with a girlfriend nobody had met before. They all acted like normal family members, instead of people waiting for the next crisis they'd need me to solve. And Paul? Paul was just a happy kid having a birthday party with his family there, exactly like it should have always been. Surrounded by friends, running around with cake on his face, completely oblivious to the fact that this moment only existed because I'd finally learned to say no. Lisa pulled me aside while the kids were destroying the cake. I'm up to $1,200 in repayments, she said. I know it's not much compared to what I owe, but I'm keeping track. Every month. I know. I see the Venmo notes. George and I are doing better. We made a real budget. Cut out the stuff we didn't need. It's weird actually thinking about money before spending it, but it's working. That's good, Lisa. Really. I was mad at you for a long time, you know. Felt like you abandoned us when we needed you most. But George pointed out that maybe we never should have needed you that much in the first place. That we're grown adults with jobs and we should have been handling our own lives. Sounds like George is smarter than I gave him credit for. She laughed. Don't tell him that. His ego's already recovering nicely. My mom came over as Lisa walked away. He's having a good time. Yeah, this is what birthdays should look like. You were right, you know, about all of it. I've been thinking a lot about how we raised you kids and how we handled money and responsibility. I think we failed you, made you the responsible one too young, and never questioned if that was fair. Mom, no, let me finish. You learned to be self-sufficient because you had to be. Lisa and Justin learned they'd always be rescued because they always were. That's on me and your father. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry we took you for granted. I'm sorry we treated you like the solution instead of like our son who might have needed help sometimes too. I didn't trust myself to talk without getting emotional, so I just nodded. But I'm proud of you. For setting boundaries. For putting Paul first. For showing all of us what it looks like to actually be responsible instead of just talking about it. Thanks, Mom. She hugged me. Actually hugged me, not the quick side hug she usually did. A real hug that lasted long enough to mean something. It's been 6 months since Paul's first baseball game. 6 months since I cut off my family and rebuilt everything on my own terms. Here's where things stand now. My savings account, $14,847. Growing every month without the constant drain. Paul's college fund, $8,200. Also growing. I set up automatic transfers of $400 a month, the exact amount I used to send Lisa twice monthly. Lisa's repayment, $1,800 total so far. She's consistent. Sends $150 every month without fail, with detailed notes in the Venmo description. At this rate, she'll have paid me back in about 8 years. I don't actually care if she does. The gesture matters more than the money at this point. The fact that she's actually trying means something. Justin graduated community college in December, got his associate's degree in communications, landed a full-time job at the marketing firm, making $38,000 a year, moved into his own apartment that he pays for himself. We have lunch once a month. He always insists on paying. I let him because I can see he needs that small victory. My parents figured out their budget, stopped living beyond their means. Dad's truck got repossessed in August because he missed 3 payments after I stopped covering them. He bought a used sedan instead, something he could actually afford on his fixed income. Mom went back to work part-time at the library. Between them, they're managing. It's not comfortable, but it's sustainable. Paul, thriving. Baseball season ended in October. His team didn't win the championship, but they made it to the semifinals and he had a batting average of .340 for the season. He wants to play again next year. I already registered him and paid the $185 fee without thinking twice about it. He's also got friends now. Real friends who come over for sleepovers and video games, kids whose parents know my name and invite us to things. Birthday parties, weekend barbecues, play dates at the park. We're not isolated anymore. We're part of a community. The kind of community I always wanted for him, but couldn't build when I was too busy funding everyone else's lives. And me? I'm different. Not drastically. I still work in IT management. Still drive the same Honda with 155,000 miles on it now. Still live in the same apartment, though I'm thinking about moving somewhere with a yard once Paul gets a little older and needs more space to run around. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.